Hey guys, so last night we went and had a really in-depth conversation about RMTing, peer-to-peer RMT versus G2G bot RMTing, how to get rid of bots, what can we do to prevent these things, just a deep conversation about RMTing and the problems in Lost Ark. And I thought it was a very interesting conversation that I want to share with y'all here today on YouTube. As per usual, I always have a ton of these types of conversations on my stream. So if you're interested in participating in them, please, I stream every single night starting at 10 p.m. PST on twitch.tv/MisoxShiru. On weekends, either Saturday or Sunday, one of the 2 days, I usually also stream in the afternoons, starting around like 2 to 3 p.m. PST. So hopefully I get to see you guys there. But if not, I hope you all enjoy this upcoming video. Do you think over time more people started RMT more over time too, and that's another reason why these numbers are dropping like this? They should improve the royal crystal conversion rates. Then less people might do RMT. Right now, you have to sell skins. Well, here's the thing, Karam, and I've talked about this before. I don't think that works because what'll happen is they improve the price of the royal crystals, right? So they make it like, let's say, for example, bot gold costs, I don't know what the number is, $100 for a mil gold, right? Well, Lost Ark, let's say Amazon's like, well, let's match the RMT prices. $100, you get 1 mil gold. What is RMT going to do? What are the bots going to do? They're going to lower their prices. Well, $100 for 1 mil, Amazon, I'm going to up you. $100 for 2 mil gold. Amazon's like, okay, well, you do that, I'm going to follow you. 100 for 2 mil. Then they're going to bring it lower, right? And at some point, it's just not going to be worth it for the bots to sell anymore. It's like, we're making pennies out of this, right? So they leave. But at that point, Amazon are also making pennies off of the gold that they're selling. So sadly, Amazon can't actually compete with the bots because bots are always going to bring it lower than Amazon's prices. And it just gets to a point where you're racing to the bottom. And at some point, the bots will pull out. Yes, they can't do it anymore. But at that point, Amazon's just not going to be making any more money. And they're going to fucking destroy the economy. Once bots pull out, then it'll probably become okay. By the time bots pull out, the economy will have gone to shit already, is the problem. Because people have been buying gold through Amazon, right? And the economy, the gold would have been deflated to the fuck out of the game. And then what's going to happen is, okay, well, Amazon raises their prices back up, right? Then, again, bots are going to come back. So it's just a never-ending cycle of, like, bots versus AGS. And AGS just can't chase the bots like that. They either stay where they are and make things a little bit better so that bots like are less enticing, but again, bots can like bring their prices down. Or they chase each other to the bottom to the point where the economy is just fucked. Hardware ban for what? Bots? Or like people buying RMT gold? I mean, of course, they should 100% punish people buying RMT gold more. I think that's the true solution to RMT, but they're not doing it. Why can't they just invest in good anti-cheat? I mean, the thing is with anti-cheats, right? They're always going to find workarounds. There's no anti-cheat in the world that just like, can prevent everything. Like, what is there any MMO where bots aren't a problem? Is there any popular MMO free to play that where bots aren't a problem? Are there really no bots in BDO? Like, well, let me just check. Buy BDO gold. I mean, if there were no bots at BDO, this wouldn't exist. But all I'm saying is, I don't think that there are no gold bots in BDO. It might not be as big of a problem, but that might be because, A, they're punishing RMT'ers a lot more, right? So they're punishing people who are buying RMT a lot more, so people are less incentivized to do it. Or B, the game's just not as popular, so there's just not as many bots. You can't do that because there's no trade system in the game? What, you can't trade in PDO? BDO? BDO trades through auction house? Let's see. How do people RMT in BDO? I mean, it just sounds like... whether... I guess... maybe what you should talking about, and I'm just thinking about what we started off with, Azuno, right? You said that the reason, because earlier what we were going off of was you were saying that the what should I call it right here? Um, we were talking about anti cheat, right? So, and my argument was like any MMO, like no good anti cheat can prevent MMOs. So, I guess going back to this conversation, the reason why there's less bots in BDO is because, like you said, there's no a trading that exists to let there be RMTing. So it's not because of the anti cheat; it's because of the system and the way that they built the game. What I'm saying is that BDO had bots, and BDO hasn't had any problem with that. But I think it's just because of the system. It's not because of, like, the anti cheat, right? It's because of the system and the way that they built the economy in the game. It just doesn't foster an environment where RMT can exist. I don't think there's no demand. Any game with an economy is going to have demand for RMTing. Like, literally, Mr. Jazz was talking about earlier. The game fucking Palia had RMT bots in it. Who plays BDO? I think BDO is a relatively popular game still. It's just that the way that our economy works and how, like, the transfer of gold works, botting is like a very easy and viable way for these people to make money. And it comes down to this, right? If there's no need for gold, like, if there's no need for RMT gold, then if there's no demand, there's going to be no supply. So the way that we actually get rid of RMTers in Lost Ark is either A, completely rework the way that the economy works, like in PVO, right? Which just isn't going to happen. But B, make it so that RMTers are actually punished. If RMTers are actually punished, a lot less people would do it. There was like a guy who had the most popular BDO bot. Everyone paid for it and used it. Then BDO sued him. The police raided him. And after that was over, exactly. Actually make consequences for people that do this stuff. Sadly, in Lost Ark, there's just not really many consequences. Now, we just had a set of consequences like 2 weeks ago where a bunch of RMTers got banned and like got their gold taken away. But that only happens every now and then. That doesn't happen regularly enough and to enough people to dissuade these people from doing it. I honestly think that the peer-to-peer RMT wouldn't be as big of a deal if it wasn't for, like, I don't think RMT would be as big of a deal if it was just peer-to-peer RMT. And at the same time, I think, honestly, and I don't know if this is a fact, I don't know where the people get their peer-to-peer RMT gold, but some of these people I feel like are probably getting their gold way too fast, way too often. And I would probably venture to guess that a lot of these peer-to-peer gold sellers are probably buying botted gold and selling that and pretending it's peer-to-peer. That's my guess. Personally, when it comes to peer-to-peer RMTing, I think if it's done actually, like, normally with hand-farmed gold, there should not be enough gold in peer-to-peer RMTing to actually affect the economy in any way, shape, or form. Because at the end of the day, peer-to-peer RMTing, in many ways, is like trading services, I guess, right? Like, in many ways, you could say, like, somebody helping somebody roll gems for silver and buying that service with gold is many ways essentially the same thing as peer-to-peer RMT. Because silver is a currency that cannot be traded in the market. Yes, you can buy silver with gold, like, but nobody does that. So in many ways, doing something like that is the same as peer-to-peer RMTing. You could also say busing is the same as peer-to-peer RMTing because you're trading your service for the gold that the person is selling you. There's essentially no difference because you're not giving that person anything, but they're giving you money. So it's like, in essentially, you're not giving the game anything. You're giving that person your dollar dues, and they're giving you the gold. It's basically the same thing. Botted gold and peer-to-peer have similar prices, so they give me a profit. Is that true? I don't know. I've never like talked to these peer-to-peer RMT'ers. I don't know anyone who doesn't buy peer-to-peer. Is the WeChat gold that gets botted? Let's get on here. Peer-to-peer and botted gold go head to head. Really? Why? I guess like, why do people buy botted gold then if that's the case? It's a bit cheaper. Honestly, not no good sourcing. I just question, how do these people get so much gold? How do they get so much gold so quickly? Buzzing on multiple rounds? I mean, yes, but I feel like these people are like generating gold at a rate that I just don't know if just you can get it through bussing. And here's my honest take on it, right? I don't condone of anybody doing RMT whatsoever, whether it's through G2G, whether it's through P2P. But personally, I see peer-to-peer RMT as the same thing as bussing. Like, it essentially is the same thing. Now, maybe the quantity of gold that you're getting is not the same, unless you're running like crazy amounts of buses every week. But that's the way I see it. I don't know how I got on this topic, but we're here. Maybe you could buy gold from quitting players as people that want to make money back in the game and selling for higher price about that. I don't think so. Like, again, because some people have like a plug that like just are like a constant source of gold. So if they're buying gold from quitting players, I don't think there's enough people, like they don't know enough people to do that. And like, what's to say, like, why aren't those players just selling directly to the people? Why are they going through the peer-to-peer sellers like a middleman? But maybe make packs high worth so people buy Roquers for them. I mean, I agree, but it's hard as well because when you make packs that are high value for a low cost, that ends up having a direct effect on economy and lowers the value of those items directly. So you can't. It's a hard balance to draw for sure. It really is a hard balance. Sadly, I don't really have experience working at any of these companies to know exactly how it's done. Like, how do they determine the price of those items and those packs? But if you make it too cheap, again, it's just going to plummet the price of those items in the pack. It's hard to fight RMT. Exactly. It's not easy. But I think the best way to fight RMT is to actually put consequences for those people who RMT. That way, there's no need for. Oh, this is where I came from, right? This is where we came from. I think that if you ban the people who are buying RMT gold, there's going to be a much lower demand for RMTing, and there's going to be a much lower demand for RMTing, and as a result, there's going to be a lot less bots in the game and a lot less suppliers because they have nobody to sell to. And yes, you could say there's peer-to-peer gold sellers, but again, like I said earlier, I personally think that peer-to-peer gold selling does the same amount of harm as bussing does. So if you're going to allow bussing, I think that it's basically the same as peer-to-peer gold selling. Bots are part of the economy. I don't want to do and hand farm collectibles for the adventure book. I mean, I think that's probably like a balancing thing. If they saw that doing that shit was way too hard, I think they could balance it to make the adventure book farming easier, right? Maybe require less of each item, things like that. The only reason why those things are so like high at the moment, I think, are because it's so easy to get. Why don't they do that? Because there's no need for them to do it right now. Because the game is like quote unquote working fine because of the existence of bots. But again, I think bots are bad for the game and the economy. So I think that if they got rid of them, then they could do that. And it would make sense. And it would probably be better for the game for the long run. What if increasing the fish per cast 5x would saturate the market enough to make bots worthless? I think rather than making them worthless, they just find another way to make money. Like, there always is going to be a better way to make money, right? And if you make it so that there's no way to make money in the game, then that means you just don't have an economy at that point. Like the reason why they don't have bots for like, let's say something like hunting is not because they can't make it. I'm pretty sure they can make a bot that does hunting, but it's just that it's not worth their time making a bot for hunting when fishing is so much easier. Any game with an economy will have bots. It's unavoidable. But the thing is, I'm just thinking about ways to reduce the number of bots that we have, and I just think the only real way to reduce bots and the number of bots that are in the game is to reduce the demand for bots by, again, directly punishing people that RMT. Remove gems from Chaos when you put in raids. You can't do that because new players. Maybe remove Orejas so boss can sell them and make them. Well, the thing is, if you remove Orejas, what's going to be the? You're going to be disrupting the trade market too, right? The trade skill market. The if fish and excavating and hunting will go significantly down in terms of their value. And again, at some point, you're going to make it so that there's no reason for you to do trade skill at all. Sadly, changing anything in the economy itself is not going to be able to actually battle the problem of bots. Bots will always find a way to weasel their way in to making gold and selling it. That's just the truth. If there's a market, if there is an economy, if there is a place where people have a demand for gold or, currency, there will be bots that do it. Bots are generally sitting at low level. If their gold to be cut off, it will impact RNT a lot. I mean, it will impact RNT in certain ways, but again, they'll just find other ways to make gold. Like you get rid of holding what is it? Fusion materials, they just won't farm for that anymore. They'll farm for like, I don't know, herbalism, making pots. They'll go and run like guardian raids, make endless guardian raid bots, and then or go back to go make chaos dungeon bots and like do that and just like make new accounts every day. Like there's at the end of the day, again, there's just even though you're making things inconvenience them, like again, they made it so that you couldn't like buy items on the marketplace like for 5-10 seconds or whatever. Like they've done all these things to hamstring bots in the past, but it never worked. Like they're always gonna find a way to make gold. They're always gonna way to find a way to like sell gold. And at some point when you're hamstringing the bots, you're also affecting the players. Like every single thing that they've done to hamstring bots also affected players. So regardless, again, because of the effect of these things, like anytime they put any sort of limitation on a bots in game like that, it's also putting a limitation on players, and they just can't do that. Two-factor authentication, they still get past that, unfortunately. There's like, and again, it's another inconvenience to players as well. Hire a team of people to ban bots. I mean, I think it would help for sure. Would it solve the problem? I don't think so, but I think it would help.